Hello and welcome to our Senior Baccalaureate show. We are the senior class officers, and I would like to take this moment to thank you all for coming, and I would also like to thank Yu Guang Chen for playing the prelude. My name is Ellie Daniels.
I'm Justine Ringberg.
Hi, I'm Carla Figueroa.
I'm Kelsey Bartolozzi.
I'm Anthony Otey.
I'm Clara Baker.
And I'm Debbie Dislin. We have a few requests for you guys. If you haven't noticed, it's a very full house. So if you do have space in the rows next to you, please move towards the center just to allow people who are coming in or don't have seats to do that. Also, please no flash photography. At the end of the ceremony, we will be joining the chamber singers and Anna Crucis out at the Rock just outside Eden Chapel. So we invite you to join us in doing that. Traditionally, baccalaureate ceremonies occur in conjunction with graduations and serve as a time of reflection. At Beloit, we do this by showcasing student talent and reflections.
Please join us in welcoming to the stage Ann Davies, Provost and Dean of the College, for our invocation.
"60 feet and 6 inches from the pitcher's mound to home plate. Pride and Prejudice. A Dove ice cream bar with milk chocolate coating, St. Chapelle, and the admission staff at Beloit College." Does any of this sound familiar to you? It might. This is a good sign you have good memories. These are words many of you heard when we gathered in Eaton Chapel on the very first day you arrived on campus as new students and the family and friends who had accompanied them here. On that warmer day, President Scott Bierman pointed to Dove bars, Jane Austen, and Beloit's admission staff as examples of perfection. The last of these, our admission staff, perfect because they had forged with each student in the entering class that mutual recognition that you would be good for Beloit and Beloit would be good for you. Seniors, I don't necessarily expect you to remember the words of that day, although I'm impressed that some of you did, but I suspect that you can probably unearth from your memory bank some of the emotions of that day. The excitement, the uncertainty, that slight edge of terror, perhaps already a sense of coming home, accompanied simultaneously by an awareness of a lack of some of the more familiar comforts of where you'd come from. Parents, families, and friends, you probably remember how much you celebrated that next step, and yet also knew how much you would miss the daily presence of one of the individuals you cherish most in this world. Perhaps you remember President Bierman telling you that because of that, you needed to trust us enough to go away, and how you both hoped and felt you could and worried nonetheless. So now I'd like you to look around. Seniors, think about how many of these people you now know deeply and comfortably and lovingly. The connections you feel and will continue to feel even now as you prepare to take leave of one another and this place. Think about the confidence you have and your willingness to challenge yourself, to own your decisions, and to live with some uncertainty. The admissions staff, in partnership with all of you, was perfect in predicting that you would thrive here. Families and friends, you are here with your soon-to-be graduates who simultaneously feel different from the people you dropped off back on that first day, and yet also who continue to feel utterly familiar. Adults coming into their own, whom you carry in your heart and who sustain you. On that first day, President Bierman asked you to trust Beloit with some of the most important people in your lives. We hope you agree that we proved worthy of that trust. We come back together now in Eaton Chapel on the eve of another cusp, another transition. Tomorrow morning will feel different from today. It's called commencement for a reason. It is the first step into the next stage of your lives. Today, however, this baccalaureate is about this place, these people who in their time here have made Beloit what it is. This is the day when we show, through song and dance and laughter and serious talk, what it means to be a Beloiter, if you like nouns, or what it means to Beloiter, if you prefer verbs. In the vernacular, baccalaureate is one of those times at Beloit when we simply say, "Buck yeah." Welcome to a tradition that always takes on the unique dimensions, dare I say it, the intelligence, imagination, and curiosity of the graduating class. Welcome to a perfectly Beloit moment. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
Performance. Our first performance will be a dance piece featuring Claire Ulrich and Lily Watkins. It's entitled "And There She Was Again, Again." Claire is a rhetoric and discourse and dance double major, and Lily Watkins is a creative writing major.
So we talked all night about the rest of our lives, where we're gonna be when we turn 25. I keep thinking times will never change. Keep on thinking things will always be the same. But when we leave this year, we won't be coming back. No more hanging out, cause we're on a different track. And if you got something that you need to say, you better say it right now, cause you don't have another day. Cause we're moving on and we can't slow down. These memories are playing like a film without sound. And I keep thinking of the night in June. I didn't know much of love, but it came too soon. And there was me and you, and then we got real blue. Stay at home talking on the telephone, and we would get so excited and we'd get so scared, laughing at ourselves, thinking life's not fair. And this is how it feels. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together. And as our lives change from whatever, we will still be friends forever.
Val Hansen, a French and Literary Studies major from Madison, Wisconsin, would like to dedicate this piece to the Beloit College housekeepers.
Thank you. You might not be clapping when I'm finished. We'll see. But I titled this piece Liberal Arts in Practice, and it's, excuse me, I've been told to speak over the mic, and it's loosely poetry, but I'm more of a narrative person. We often talk about liberal arts in practice. We go hither and yon around the world for study abroad. We go into the Beloit community for the Duffy. We volunteer, write, speak, do. We seek liberal arts in practice. It also seeks us. My dad gave me a collection of poetry about a month ago, and one of these was by an artist named Martina Spada, entitled Advice to Young Poets. Never pretend to be a unicorn by sticking a plunger on your head. I like his words. Don't try to pretend to be something you're not, and don't try to be someone or something that's clearly fake. I felt very fake the first day I started what I'll call my liberal arts in practice, housekeeping. Yes, I've gone abroad, but housekeeping's been a part of my Beloit life since almost day one. First day, I arise at the crack of dawn, 6 a.m. I'm not joking. I do not want to clean. I do not want to be awake. Trepidation dogs my every step from porter to smith. I feel like that fake unicorn. I just needed a job on campus. But then I met these housekeepers. One former RA told me that 100% of end-of-the-year surveys he looked at came back with students stating that they found their housekeepers worthy and important. These women and men clean after us, and college students aren't always the most tidy. They also speak to us. They feed us. They become our surrogate family. They work as hard as anyone on campus. No, they work harder. They invited me in personally, with me working with them in such close proximity. They shared meals, jokes, stories, all while sweeping, mopping, and clearing trash. Thank you, each and every housekeeper, from Bobby to Brenda to countless others whom I've worked with since day one at Beloit. You have been my liberal arts in practice.
This next performance is entitled Le Poème des Fleurs. It's performed by Molly Wells, Jeannie Mrugach, and Sarah Morgan, accompanied by David Newman. The following song celebrates springtime, blossoming out of a cruel winter. The performers, all veterans of Midwest winters, invite you to be swept up in the driving energy of new seasons and new life.
Pare
Emily Cattell-Queller is a woman and gender studies major, a classics major, and a medieval studies minor. In her free time, she likes to dance.
Don't say that you're in love with me, listen to what I say. You're too young to come with me, I must be on my way. And stop your silly crying out, how can I make you see that I'm a gypsy rover love and you'll not come with me? Go home, girl, go home, go home. And I met you at the market when your man was not with you. You like me long brown ringlets and my handkerchief of blue. And although I'm very fond of you, you asked me home for tea. But I'm a gypsy rover love and you'll not come with me. Go home, girl, go home, go home. And your brother is a peeler and will lock me up in the jail. If he knew I was a poacher and I hunt your lord was quail. Well, your daddy is a gentleman, your mammy just as grand, but I'm a gypsy rover love and I'll not be your man. Go home, girl, go home, go home. Drawn on my love, your man's expecting thee. Don't tell her that you met me here or I'm a gypsy free. And let's get off me jacket now, your love will have to wait. For I am 22 years old and you're only 8. Go home, girl, go home, go home. And go home, girl, go home, go home.
We're back. Actually, we'd like to take this moment to reveal the senior class gift contribution. Many of the seniors have been getting lots of emails about that, so thank you. The gift is a scholarship fund in the name of our class, and it was designed to give future Beloiters who share the same values of our class an opportunity to come to Beloit. So can we welcome to the stage President Scott Bierman?
Alrighty, thus, on behalf of the class of 2013, we'd like to present this check for $7,335.21, which will fund 3 scholarships and a little extra. So yeah, here it is.
You know, it turns out the admissions office was, in fact, perfect. Thank you very, very much. This class is not only enormously talented, but generous as well. There is no gift as meaningful to the college as a gift towards scholarships. At the end of the day, access to this glorious institution is a core value of this college, and it doesn't surprise me at all that this glorious group of senior class officers identified this as a priority. It speaks to your great character. One of the reasons I love the metaphor of turtles on the campus is the way it connects to the and now I'm going to do an Irish dance. The way it connects to the Turtles All the Way Down theme. And of course, scholarships are at the very core of this theme. Past Beloiters providing access to this education for future Beloiters is such a gloriously important value that has governed this college for since its inception. So thanks to you very, very much. It wouldn't be a moment at least this week with an event with me, without recognizing my relatively unholy love of footwear. So in partial gratitude, I've brought one of my very last pairs of turtle socks. And to reflect a spirit of generous but random generosity, I'm going to close my eyes and throw it into the crowd. We've got a second pair of turtle socks. This one's not going to be quite so random. So this one I'm going to toss in a very specific direction. Barb Geiser, who's sitting second from the wall over there, made a spectacularly poor choice of schools when she went to college. Barb, can you just raise your hand so people see who you are? Barb was the very first student I taught at Carleton College, and her daughter Lee is graduating this year. As faculty, you learn, of course, everybody knows this, you learn everything you know from students. I would not be where I am today were it not for Barb. And it is just an honor to be here. And thank you very, very much for your generosity.
Okay. One last thing. So thank you again for everyone in this room who has donated to the gift. It's your donations that have made this all possible. In addition, if you had not yet had the opportunity to donate, you'll find donation envelopes in the pockets in the backs of the seats, and you can stick a donation in there if you would like, and they'll be collected at the end of the show. So thank you all again. Enjoy the rest of the performances.
So for this next performance will be a video production done by these three strapping young men, so I will let them introduce themselves.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Patrick Firm.
My name's Anthony Bossler.
My name's Jishnu Guha, and I'm really sorry for what you're about to see.
We are three of the founders of Raptor Productions, a small film production company on campus, and this is our latest film.
Bingo. There we go.
All right, Patrick, tell these people about our house.
Well, to future Anthony and Patrick, or just anyone in general, we just graduated from college and got our brand new first house ever.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. We got all this art and we got a kitchen over there.
Oh yeah, quick tour, quick tour. Right. We got this house for practically nothing.
Oh my man,
almost nothing.
This landlord was saying that, you know, like, there's some spooky things in here and people get scared and run away.
We haven't seen or heard anything yet.
No, I can't imagine anything going wrong.
What? Did you hear that?
I thought it was just my stomach, but...
Oh, man, all right, we'll get you some food later. Here's our bedroom.
Oh yeah,
nothing crazy.
You know, we still have some mess in there. Nothing major though.
We got a his and his.
Oh, what? I just got hit in the face with a cereal box.
We totally just saw this like 30 seconds ago in the kitchen.
I mean, I just finished eating that honeycomb.
Oh my goodness, what is... Oh my gosh! Oh. Patrick, I think our house actually might be haunted.
You know what, Patrick, I understand. You know what, let's just finish the tour.
Yeah.
Alright, this is our office.
You know what, I think... Sorry, I hate to cut the tour short, but I don't feel safe.
You think it's time to...
I think we need to give our landlord
a call. I'll call him. I think I have better reception.
Okay,
okay.
Oh, you get better reception outside. Go call our landlord and let's take care of this.
So, what's the problem?
Landlord Pierman.
Landlord Pierman.
So we again, thank you so much for letting us have this house.
You gave us a great deal.
It's a great day to be a landlord.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yes, it is. We didn't realize that when you said this place was haunted, you were being honest about that.
Yeah, like we've only been here for a few minutes.
Could we possibly trade
get
units?
Get out of the lease?
No, you all have a lease. You signed the lease. Your name is on it. Your name is on it.
Yeah.
It's good for a year. There's no way you can get out of this lease. No way. I can't rent this to somebody else. I told you that.
Yes, we understand that.
But what can we do?
Well,
I don't know if we call an exterminator for this. I don't know.
We could make a call.
Well,
who are we gonna call?
Ghostbusters!
Strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Who do we call?
Ghostbusters!
So what seems to be the problem, boys?
Hi, gentlemen. How you doing?
Well, we just moved into this house yesterday, and we keep seeing these ghosts around.
Ghosts, huh? There's cereal boxes being thrown at us, scary noises that we're hearing when the TV is off, and yeah, it's scaring the bejeebus out of us.
Yeah, these noises. These noises, okay? Are you playing music at the same time?
No music. No. We're just sitting there, and then it's.
Do you have loud neighbors?
Nope. No. They're all 75 years and older.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so we contacted you guys because we really didn't know what to do.
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you this camera, and we're gonna set it up for the first night and see if there actually is a ghost.
What's taking so long, Patrick?
I'm just trying to set this up, Anthony. I don't want the Ghostbusters to be mad at us, you know?
It doesn't seem like it would be this complicated.
I don't know. We might have a ghost in our room. I think that's complicated enough.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I don't want to think about that anymore. I don't want to have any nightmares, you see.
Exactly. We'll find out when we look at the footage in the morning.
All right. This has been a really rough day.
Yeah.
It's a rough first day in the apartment.
Oh well, good night. Don't let the ghost bite, okay?
Oh man, I know somebody bites and balls.
Stop it, you. Good night, best friend.
Look what's happening here. That ghost is like taking the sheets off the blanket and
Why didn't you tell me I look like that?
I mean, I'm sleeping when that happens. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Wait.
What do you think we do about this?
I guess we gotta call the Ghostbusters. Again. They'd be interested in this
I'll grab
stuff.
your phone.
Absolutely.
See, guys, there's definitely a ghost here.
Look what he does to Patrick.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And to Anthony.
Yeah, that's even funnier. Right.
Oh my goodness, I'm too scared to.
Oh, Jesus! Oh my goodness! See, there's a ghost.
These little Debbies were meant for us. Message received, challenge accepted.
We will deal with this. We'll be here tonight.
We won't back down.
Okay, are you guys ready back there?
We're in position.
Okay.
If something bad happens, Mom, I'll love you.
And, oh my God. And Timmy, you can have my goldfish.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, all right. No, I'm so scared. I'm not gonna change into my pajamas.
Yeah.
What about that?
Sleep
night, boys.
Okay.
Good night, Mr. Ghostbusters.
Good night, all you Ghostbusters. I'll see you in the morning. Best friend high five.
Good night, best friend.
Code 3, Tango spot!
It's over.
Tango down. Tango down.
Good work, team.
Busters.
Buster chant on 3. 1, 2, 3. We have ghosts!
Yes.
Mission success.
It's done.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
We all ain't afraid of no ghost. It's the next morning.
Oh, did the Ghostbusters do the job?
Hello?
Ghost?
Did you hear anything?
No. Sounds... It feels... normal.
I think this is the start of a new day.
I think this is a great day.
To be ghost-free?
Yeah. I've never felt anything like this since before we moved into the apartment.
Buddy, I think we just got the best apartment ever! Woo! Yeah! 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 Yahoo! Get more into it. Get more into it, buddy.
Rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed. You just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Marco!
Polo!
Marco!
Polo!
Marco!
Polo!
There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. You stick together,
Bert Connolly, a creative writing major from Sharon, Massachusetts, will now read an excerpt from his honor project.
A block ahead of me, I see a group of 3 kids standing on the sidewalk in front of Viveros Elementary School. They're right around the border of a chain-link fence that separates the playground from the real world. I can picture them gathering together in the same way in about 15 years behind the walls of a state prison. I walk closer and hear the bell ring that I assume means the end of the recess period. One blond boy picks his head up out of the small circle on the outside of the fence and looks towards the school, shakes his head, and returns to whatever it was they were focusing on. Trading cigarettes for pornography, no doubt. I'm nervous about whatever is commanding the attention of the 8-year-olds, especially as I get closer and can see into the empty playground through the chain-link fence. I think about my friends when I was in middle school and how we would pick up ants and put them in spider webs, or how we'd go to Narragansett Beach during the summer and put crabs down our swim trunks and see how long we could go without crying, not really understanding the smirking concerns of our parents. I think about when my neighbor Lee and I made our younger neighbor Eric buy some of our lemonade that was mostly made from Lee's urine and sugar. But that was middle school, and maybe these kids hadn't developed, sadomasochistically speaking, yet. I'm a few feet away from them and my palms are sweating despite the cold. The 8-year-old, who is clearly the tallest and most genetically inclined to be the alpha male, turns around and looks at me. I see a flash of apprehension in his eyes, but it vanishes quickly. Hey, Hey, aren't you a janitor? He says, brow winkled with attempted recognition. No, I say, embarrassed by how curt I just was with the child. No, sorry, I'm not. Yeah, he is, he yips to his partners, who are all standing to look at me now, their backs facing whatever it was they've been ignoring their studies and casting aside their futures for. Don't lie, mister. I look him in the eye the same way you do with a misbehaving dog. No, kid, I'm really not. Do you recognize me? I really do, he says, taking off his glove to scratch his head with his knuckles. Maybe you live near here? It was as if he was telling me that I live there now, whether I liked it or not. Yeah, I answer him, not too far off anyway. The blonde boy from before steps up. No, I recognize you. I went to Outback's last Saturday with Jim. Yeah, that's right, I say. I'm a cook there. Told you guys, he squeaks. That's weird, says the third boy with a Boston accent, which is odd for this part of the state. Hey, I say, and look over at over their heads and at the old elementary school. Why aren't you guys in there? We caught a frog, says Alpha Male. We're keeping him in that bag, he says, pointing over his shoulder vaguely at a brown paper bag that's on the ground, rocks gently pinning down the edges. Isn't that weird? Yeah, why is that weird, I say, realizing he hadn't answered my question in the slightest. What do you mean? It's the middle of November. He was just hopping around in the sandbox where the girls play, the blonde boy says. Don't lie to him, mister, the boy with the accent says. Come on, you guys, it's not fair. He's not gonna fucking do anything, are you, Elmac? No, that's right, I'm not gonna do anything, I say, my nerves weak in the face of this 8-year-old who swore just now. The boys look at one another momentarily before Alpha nods and says, Yeah, okay. We didn't catch him. Mrs. Bennett, our teacher, brought in a new frog today, and we wanted to play with it at recess, but she said no. So we waited until she left the room for something and we took it, the blonde boy says, snorting a trail of snot back into his nose. Okay, but why aren't you in school? Recess is over. I heard the bell. Yeah, so did we, but we have this frog now, Alpha replies, his brow still furrowed. And if we go bring it back, we'll get in trouble. We're never going back to school, I guess. He looks at his friends for confirmation and they nod in anxious agreement. Nah, the boy with the Boston accent says. I know. We want to keep this frog because it's such a good singer, and Mrs. Bennett won't let us if we bring it back to class. Can I hear him sing? I ask, realizing that to anyone watching, I'm a 22-year-old helping a trio of children skip school. They don't say anything, but instead turn around to face the brown paper bag. The blonde boy picks up the rocks around the edges, and Alpha pounces, gripping it so hard that I fear for the frog's life. He unwraps the frog from the bag in the same way one removes bandages from a burned victim and holds him up as high as his arms will allow. It appears as though he is offering it up to sacrifice to some greater frog being. It looks like a tree frog from what I know about frogs, which isn't a lot. Its eyes flick around, disoriented. I think I'm going to see it die or hibernate right in front of me, and it fits perfectly between the young boy's hands. Alpha holds tight to the body and back legs, but the tiny front legs squirm and flail horribly. Alpha's gloveless and dry fingers dig into the frog's ribs, and I think I would rather watch these boys dissect it than whatever's about to happen next. Its eyes look desperately for an escape route. Alpha brings his hands down towards the ground as quickly as he can. The frog croaks at an alarming volume. Its eyes and throat bulge in terror and exertion. The boy does this over and over again, bringing the frog up as high as it can go and then forcing it to plummet. At first it seems cruel, and that I should have known these kids are malevolent, but then something happens. The boy begins to move the frog in angles, patterns, and shapes in the air, and the frog in kind croaks at different pitches and volumes. The boy closes his eyes, and the frogs get wider with every motion. The boy dances with the frog, holding him first with both hands, then with his right, then with his left. The boy jumps from foot to foot and straight up in the air. A car passes. The frog really is a singer. It's as if the boy's touch has released some kind of goblin that has been contained deep within the amphibian. The two move in unison. Like a musician trapped without his sheet music, the frog needs the boy to explore his own voice. The space between the boy and the frog shrinks with every bellow and motion, and the frog's physical pain is palpable, and I marvel at the romance of this street corner in Fall River, Massachusetts. The frog, facing his own death, must feel lucid and free. The boy's hands are turning blue with the cold and the frog's mucus, but even he is able to emote through the frigidity of the air. I have no idea what comes over me. The blonde boy looks across the playground and begins to clap. For a moment, his hands are in perfect synchronicity with the frog's song. But then it is lost, and the boy with the Boston accent shouts and runs. I turn, and a woman in her mid-30s wearing a blue floral dress that only teachers wear walks towards us. Who the fuck are you? Get away from those boys. I throw my hood over my head and run the rest of the way to dinner, the freezing air burning and twisting in my lungs as I go. Thank you.
This next piece is performed by Maureen Hansel, who is an ecology, evolution, and behavioral biology major from Glenview, Illinois, a theater nerd, animal lover, and proud member of Alpha Sigma Tau sorority. She's accompanied by Laura Young, who is a philosophy major from Florence, Alabama.
Next, I would like to welcome Carol Wickersham to the stage. Carol is a faculty member of Sociology Department, director of the Duffy Community Partnership, and works within the Department of Community-Based Learning in the Liberal Arts and Practice Center. She was selected tonight to be the keynote speaker because of her dedication and involvement in the Beloit community, which has inspired many seniors. We felt that she was an excellent role model as an outspoken defender of human rights and because of her true dedication to putting liberal arts into practice.
I'm going to wait for Anne's platform. Well, it was a wonderful introduction, but really I'm the warm-up act for the belly dance superstars. So. Beginning in kindergarten, every year when my kids were in grade school, they had to create an All About Me poster. Early on, this meant practicing their scissor skills by cutting pictures out of magazines of their favorite food, pizza, slathering the back of the picture with glue and posting it on a piece of poster board. And since I come from a small village where all our children really are above average, every year, every kid got their picture in the newspaper. However, by the time my kids and their friends got to about 6th grade, having done this now 7 times, they started to get snarky about their posters. The teachers would shut them right down, saying, "No, you cannot claim Budweiser as your favorite food, nice try." It wasn't just that the assignment had gotten old and boring, but the students had begun to suspect, even by the age of 12, that life really wasn't all about them. I feel incredibly honored and fortunate today to be able to stand here. Thank you so much. And I've thought a lot about what I want to say. A number of years ago, shortly after I started teaching here, a mentor of mine asked, "One of the things you should think about when you're standing in front of the class is when they leave, what do you want every single student to know?" I've thought about it, and here it is. What I want for every Beloit College student when you walk across that threshold tomorrow is to know that it's not all about you. You're walking out into a world that does not take you personally. And that is really good news. It's also important news, and it's also countercultural news. Because we live in a culture that will keep trying to tell you it really is all about you. It's about what you want and how you look and what entertains you and what you consume, most of all, what you consume. And what I'm hoping is that by now, you know that for the lie it is. It's not all about you, not at all. And what I mean by this is I hope that you're able to see how the world looks from a vantage point very, very different than your own. To do this even a little bit, you're going to have to be able to contextualize and analyze and synthesize and criticize and empathize and extrapolate and interpolate, do regression analysis and progressive predictions and find X and cite your sources and practice the heck out of all those other big words and concepts in your liberal arts toolbox. And of course, to even start to do any of that, you're going to have to get out of your own way. This is why at the very beginning with FYI, we start talking about social identity and cultural assumptions. You need to be aware of how being you shapes what you think you know about everything else. And not just you as an individual, but you as a man or a woman, as Chinese or American, as straight or LGBTQ, athlete, BISPA, chemist, dancer, all of the above and much, much more. Shaped by your personality and your history and larger social structures. But the goal of all of this reflection is not just to appreciate the wonderful beauty of you, though I have to say, standing here this afternoon, you are a particularly lovely cohort. Rather, it's to appreciate that your vantage point is not the only one. What I hope is that your education has allowed you to catch a glimpse of how the world looks when you're not right at the center of it. Of course, it would be the height of hubris to think that we could fully understand another person, look through their eyes, but we can all aspire towards closer understanding. Now, those of you who've had me in class know about what I call the learning stance, but bear with me one last time. A stance is a posture. The learning stance is not a fighting stance. It is not a proud stance. It's an extremely humble stance. Simply stated, the learning stance posits that every person that you encounter is your teacher. Not just your professors, also your roommate and your teammates and your work-study supervisor. Thank you, Valme. The little kids that you've tutored at the Todd Reading Club, your host family from study abroad, even people from long ago that you encountered in your history and philosophy texts. Everyone has something to teach you, and not just people, plants and animals and rocks and elegant equations. Everyone has something to teach you, but you need to be humble enough and smart enough to get the lesson that's there for you. Humble because that's what it takes to be a student, and you're not done yet. The ability to admit that other people know something that you don't know, and that it's worth knowing. Now this, my friends, is seriously countercultural because it challenges the unconscious privilege that we have. Now you might be sitting there thinking, who, me, privileged? I have $1 bazillion in loans and no firm job offer. There's a wide range of diversity in this room. And there are disparities. Some of us have more of one thing than another person. And those disparities are important. But privilege is always a relative term, and at this point I'm asking you to shift your point of reference away from the class of 2013 out into the great wide world into which you're going to enter. A generous estimate from the World Bank says that perhaps as many as 6.7% of the world's people ever get a chance to go to any college at all, even for a short time. 11% of boys and 18% of girls in the world never ever set foot in a school. That's what I mean by privilege. My point is that all of us who've graduated from a fine institution like this one must consider ourselves to be members of a group that is very privileged indeed. And with privilege, of course, comes the obligation to be aware of our position. We must also be aware that our culture will continue to pitch to privileged people like us. The hucksters are going to try to tell us that it's okay for us to commodify and consume the experiences of others. This is the opposite of the learning stance. Our culture is saturated with privileged, hipster voyeurism that holds the world at arm's length as if everything is material for Comedy Central. Now, I'm not talking here about satire, which is serious funny business. I'm talking about cheap laughs. And it takes discernment to know the difference. Heartfelt is just not hip these days, and sincere is just not cool. But a moment's thought will tell us that the world's suffering is not a spectacle for us to watch. It's no joke. It's an enormous privilege that we must be aware of, that we have the option to change the channel or walk away. But because I've come to know you, I know you won't. As practitioners of the liberal arts, you are aware of the high cost of shallow encounters. You know that distancing from the world's problems is illusory. We're bound up together with each other's joys, complicit in each other's suffering, and responsible together for the common good. The learning stance not only takes intelligence and humility, it also takes great courage It's a risky business because this kind of learning will continue to change us. When we who are privileged dare to say that those who are less privileged than we are have things to teach us, all about me intersects with all about everything else. Acknowledging our complicity, accepting our fair share of credit and blame for the shape that the world is in is not safe, but it is definitely worth it. C. Wright Mills, as a sociologist, I'm obliged to quote C. Wright Mills, put it this way: the individual can only understand his own experience and gauge his own fate by locating himself within his period. He can only know his chances by becoming aware of all of those individuals who share them. In many ways, this is a terrible lesson. In many ways, it is a magnificent one. We do not know the limits of man's capacity for supreme effort or willing degradation, for agony or glee, for pleasurable brutality or the sweetness of reason. But we have come to know that every individual, by the fact of his living, contributes, however minutely, or I would add magnificently, to the shaping of society and the course of its history, even as we ourselves are made by society and its historical push. So that was Mills, and now this is me. Lest you think that I don't practice what I preach, a definite danger in my profession, I want to let you know that I've been practicing the learning stance with you. And I would dare to say that my colleagues on the faculty and staff have done it too. We've been paying attention to you, and we've learned a whole lot. President Bierman just said you learn from your students. Absolutely. When you wrote field notes for my class, I wrote them too. I have a whole big book of field notes. So for the remainder of the time, for one last moment, I want to hold up a mirror and let you see yourselves and let it be all about you for one last shining moment. This is just a tiny sample. Going back to your cohort, I suppose that you're aware that you are the first to have gone through 4 full years with the recession as your backdrop. I've watched as this reality has shaped you as surely as the Depression shaped my parents and the Vietnam conflict shaped me. I've watched you and I've learned about resilience. One of you sat in my office stunned by the news that her 2 successful parents had both lost their jobs. I heard you talk yourself through the shock and come out the other end with resolve that resulted in a second job off campus and another loan. I saw your heart ache for your family, and I heard your respect for them in your voice, and I heard you say, and I quote because I wrote it down, "We're going to get through this. It won't be easy, and sometimes it won't be fun, but it's going to be worth it." And I know you're here today, and I know you think it is. And I also know it was a little bit fun. What I know is I'm a better person because I know you. I saw you all begin to grow aware that you live in a particular time in a particular place, that you have certain gifts to give. I was watching when some of you looked at the data about health disparities in our community, particularly STI and HIV rates. I looked as you rigorously crunched the data, talked to leaders, and refused to wait around for somebody else to do something about it. I was impressed when you wrote a grant and used it to buy thousands of condoms. But not just that. You designed savvy, respectful educational material. I watched you grow more astute in your analysis and strategy each semester. I was watching, and I was learning from you, my students, my teachers. And what did I learn? Well, the insight for me was reinforced by activist and educator Jane Addams' insights from her student days. In her autobiography, she talked about the snare of preparation, how education should not trap students in congealed waiting. You know that you're ready to do stuff, not just think about doing stuff. We saw you're ready. And you also know that the world is hungry for what you know. We need you. Jane Addams broke free of the snare of preparation to found Hull House, and the students who founded the Beloit Public Health Initiative broke free to make our communities safer and healthier. One last glimpse. What else have I learned from you? I wrote down my observations about this encounter. 2 students invited me to eat at their slow food co-op tonight. I really do not have time. I should chain myself to my desk and get these papers graded, but I want to be supportive, and so I go, and boy, was I glad I did. First of all, I finally figured out what slow food is. It means cooking from scratch, so I guess I was already a convert. I was afraid I was going to be asked to start raising goats and making my own cheese. I guess it might mean that too. The meal was delicious, the company was grand, the gracious and nuanced conversation swerved from recipes to campus politics, from turtles to the world economy, from football to art. And I realized that I was witnessing how civil society is created, around a table with people who are ready to take responsibility for what they consume, both what they eat and what they buy, but also for their opinions and how they share them. Their intentionality about who they are helped to put me back in my place and restore me. Half an hour and a plate of lentils, and I had more hope for the future. So now I want to cut to the chase. My dear future colleagues, for that is what you are. We are all of us colleagues, diploma-carrying practitioners of the liberal arts. What I want for you to know is that it's not all about you, and that's good news. I want you to assume the learning stance so that you're connected to something bigger than yourselves, something beyond you, something deeper, something that transcends you, that will guide you and sustain you, something that grounds you and guides you and reminds you that you are not what you consume or how much you make, something that reminds you of that sweet spot where your passion and the world's hunger connect, something constant that will keep you going when the world is too much with you. And so I close with Robert Frost's poem, Choose Something Like a Star, a poem that was read to me at my high school graduation that talks about finding that thing outside of ourselves that puts us back into our place. O star, the fairest one in sight, we grant your loftiness the right to some obscurity of cloud. It will not do to say of night, since dark is what brings out your light. Some mystery becomes the proud, but to be wholly taciturn in your reserve is not allowed. Say something to us we can learn by heart, and when alone, repeat. Say something, and it says, I burn. But say with what degree of heat? Talk Fahrenheit, talk centigrade, use language we can comprehend. Tell us what elements you blend. It gives us strangely little aid, but does tell something in the end. And steadfast as Keats' eremite, not stooping from its sphere, it asks a little of us here. It asks of us a certain height. So when at times the mob is swayed to carry praise or blame too far, we may choose something like a star to stay our minds on and be stayed.
Okay, our next performance is by Logan Jacobson. She's a physics major and math minor from Littleton, Colorado, near Denver, where she performed Polynesian dance and belly dance professionally before attending Beloit.
Next, Addie Washington, a sociology and comparative literature double major. Debbie Disling, a sociology major and religious studies minor. And Colleen Doyle, an anthropology major and geology minor, will sing a piece. These three have played together for 2 years.
Such is the way of the world, you can never know just where to put all your faith and how will it grow. Gonna rise up, burning echoes and dark memories. Gonna rise up, turning mistakes into gold. Such is the passage of time, too fast to fold, and suddenly swallowed by signs, lo and behold. Gonna rise up, find my direction magnetically. Gonna rise up, turn down the haste in the road.
All right. And now, Lizzie Sachs, a literary studies major from La Cañada, Flint Ridge, California, is getting a BA in English and knows what to do with it.
Purpose, it's that little flame that lights a fire under your ass. Purpose, it keeps you going strong like a car with a full tank of gas. Everyone else has a purpose, so what's mine? Oh, look, here's a penny. It's from the year I was born. It's a sign. Ba-ba-ba-do-do-do-do-do. I don't know how I know, but I'm gonna find my purpose. I don't know where I'm gonna look, but I'm gonna find my purpose. Gotta find out, don't wanna wait. Got to make sure that my life will be great. Gotta find my purpose before it's too late. Whoa, whoa, I'm gonna find my purpose. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna find my purpose. Could be far, could be near, could take a week, a month, a year, at a job or smoking grass, maybe at a pottery class. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good. I'm gonna find my purpose, yeah. gotta find me. Whoa, whoa, I'm gonna find my purpose. Purpose, 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 yeah, yeah. Gotta find me.
This next piece is entitled "This Must Be the Place" performed by Clara Baker, who is an environmental studies major from Portland, Oregon. She would like to dedicate this song to everyone that has made Beloit home these past 4 years.
Home is where I wanna be. Pick me up and turn me towards. I go home. I go home. I'm born with a weak heart. I guess I must be having fun. The less we say about it, the better. And make it up as we go along. Feet on the ground, head in the clouds. I'm okay, I know nothing's wrong. Hi-oh, we got plenty of time. Hi-oh, you got light in your eyes, and you're standing there beside me. I love the passing of time, never for money, always for love. Cover up and say goodnight, say goodbye. Home is where I wanna be, but I guess I'm already there. I go home, she's lifted up her wings. I guess that this must be the place. But I can't tell one from the other. And did I find you or you find me? There was a time before we were born. If someone asks, this is where I'll be. Hi-oh, we drift in and out. Hi-oh, sing into my mouth. Out of all those kinds of people, you've got a face with a view. I'm just an animal looking for a home to share the same space for a minute or two. Will you love me until my heart stops? Will you love me until I'm dead? You got eyes that light up, eyes that look through you. Cover up the blank spots, hit me on the head. Say goodnight, say goodbye. Home is where I wanna be, but I guess I'm already home.
And please join me in welcoming Malcolm Yates to the stage.
Thank you, Margaret. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize two people who are here tonight that have done so much for me in the last 23 years. One is Catherine Yates, who during that time has really been like a mother to me. And the other is James Lovell, who has been just as much a father to me as Catherine has a mother. I feel truly honored to be in front of this podium today, and I want you all to know how sincerely I appreciated having been given this opportunity. I approached the writing of this speech with the same focus, dedication, and proactive attitude applied by all Beloit College students to all major academic assignments. Last night at 11:45 p.m., I railed 10 milligrams of Adderall, shotgunned a Coke Zero, knocked back 4 shots of espresso, spent 25 minutes building myself something like a cocoon in the dark corner of the library, took off my shoes, and began writing this speech. At 12:30 a.m., I had written 112 words, more than a sixth of the speech's minimum word limit. Obviously, I had earned a break. I took a short stroll across campus towards Pearson's, hoping to clear my head and score more Coke Zero from the vending machine. On the way, I bumped into Emily, who needed a partner for the Steamhawks, her team in the all-college midnight midweek badminton tournament. I'm very sorry, I told Emily somberly. I can't help you out. I have important work to do, and have only just begun. At 1:15 a.m., we, the Steamhawks, crushed the Blue Marmots 21-12 and took 3rd overall in the tournament. Emily is awesome at badminton. I headed back to Pearson's, and Tom of the Blue Marmots came with me. We sat across from each other and got to work. Tom was composing the charter for a proposed club which would use campus funds to stage dramatic reenactments of historic chess games. He offered me co-presidency in exchange for helping write the charter. Of course, this speech needed writing, and I could not spare the time. At 2:45 a.m., Tom slammed his computer shut and stormed out of the room, shouting that I would never be co-president of the Knights of the Round Table. You see, we'd had creative differences. Tom saw the reenactments as melodrama, and I thought they were comedies. At 3:15 a.m., I glanced in the window of the spirituality room on my way to the toilet. 9 people were inside doing yoga, and someone asked me if I had never done yoga in the middle of the night. I had never done yoga, but I had to be going. This speech had to be written. At 4 a.m., physically sore and spiritually enlightened, I headed back toward the computer lab with the firm goal of finishing this speech. Instead, I guest hosted Good Morning, Houston, my friend Joe's confusingly titled 4:30 a.m. show on WBCR Beloit Student Radio. I signed a petition in support of national amnesty for the children of undocumented immigrants. I climbed the World Affairs Center. I got a very stern talking to by Beloit security while on the roof of the World Affairs Center. I met a group of students returning from Rock County's annual homeless count, and I listened to and was moved by the stories they told. I tried Brussels sprouts for the first time. I spat out Brussels sprouts because they're disgusting. I washed my mouth out with Coke Zero. I spoke Spanish with an old woman on her way to the church. I tried to give blood, but passed out before they got the needle in. I went for a run. I began and shortly abandoned my attempt at the great American novel. I read Don Quixote de la Mancha because everyone should read it once. It was a very long night. At 9:55 a.m., minutes before my final draft of this speech was due, I read, for the first time, the actual wording of the assignment. Baccalaureate speech submissions, it read, should be forward-looking. I considered this. I looked over what I've just read aloud to you, and it is all written in the past tense. Also, it is a whimsical summary of an obviously fictitious night with no connection to any graduation or commencement or anything that's happening this weekend. Sure. And yet, this is my vision of the Beloit student body, both now and in the future. When Beloit students set out to achieve something, they achieve it. After all, despite some digressions, I am currently speaking the last 100 words of this speech in this ridiculous, wrinkled makeshift tuxedo. We will walk off this stage today. I wrote this for commencement. And we will take internships or entry-level jobs, we will teach abroad or join the Peace Corps, but we will never be just interns or employees. We will never be just teachers or volunteers. We will hold these titles and many others, but they will never completely define us. This is the nature of the Beloit student. With one hand, we may work tirelessly toward our long-term goals, but with the other, we are constantly experimenting and indulging our most unexpected interests. Some of us will become doctors, professors, executives, artists, architects, politicians, who knows. But we will always simultaneously be aspiring musicians, club team pitchers, political activists, amateur photographers, unicycle enthusiasts, friends, mentors, pupils, lovers, parents, and especially dramatic, comedic, historic chess tournament reenactors. As Beloit students, we will not be shackled by titles. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world, and you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. And when that day finally comes, as it will, the people of West Beloit can take sober satisfaction in the fact that they were in the front lines for almost 2 decades. All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Beloit. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, Ich bin ein Beloiter. Richtig denken zu können, muss man schon akademisch gebildet sein. La France intérêt, c'est va entendre ce qui est passé, puis-je voudrais-moi. Vive Montréal, vive la Québec, vive la Canadá francés y vive la France. El discurso del presidente tirano mundial lleno de cinismos, lleno de hipocresía, es la hipocresía imperial, el intento de controlar todo. Huele a azufre, pero Dios está con nosotros. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Will Harris pooped in the 840 bathroom. I'm out.
And with that, our baccalaureate ceremony has reached its conclusion. So, as Chen plays a postlude, we invite you to join us just outside as the chamber singers and Anna Crucis lead us in singing the chapel. Join us outside the chapel in singing the college song.
Thank you.